Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, 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 Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. I want to give all praise, all glory, all honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and double peace and salutations to you, hopefully, like brothers out here pushing the truth across the four corners of the globe. Salakia for my coughing. I'm a little under the weather, but we still got to do what we got to do. But yeah, today I'm going to go into the lesson point of just things that you should be doing or trying to do on a daily basis. All right, and it's truth and this thing that we're in, because sometimes here in Babylon it's a struggle, to stay in the spirit. A lot of things are fighting against you, whether it be your job, people at work, your wife at home, your children at home, or just some ordinary person in the store, just always getting fucked with, you know, excuse my language, but you're always getting messed with, in this world. It's always something poking at you, all right, to bring out the worst in you, all right. But we have the scriptures, man. We have the scriptures, man, and that's what helps us, be separate, all right, from the rest of this world, is knowing what Yahweh Shem Shai requires from us, all right, and in this daily walk, all right, because this is a day-to-day thing, minute by minute. Things can change just like that, So, and they can go from sugar to shit just like that, Excuse my language, but again, things aren't always what it seems to be for the most part, and sometimes it's a struggle trying to stay in the spirit, all right. Whether it be, and sometimes you battling your own demons as well. You got shit going on in your own mind that you got to fight. All right. But the Lord, He gave us particular scriptures that we can use to help us, to stay in the spirit. All right. So I'm just going to read a few scriptures, man. The Lord willing, this is the lesson is edifying. And I want to start with 2 Corinthians. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 13. And I'm going to start at verse 5. And it reads, it says, examine yourselves whether you be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that Hamashiach, Yahweh Hamashiach is in you, except ye be reprobates. All right. So you should be continually examining yourself on a daily basis. All right. This is not a thing where you do every once in a while where you think you messed up. You should be doing this even when you don't think you messed up. All right. Because this thing, we have to critique ourselves in this truth. We have to really stay on ourselves. And we're going to make some bad decisions. We're going to have some bad thoughts. All right. But, we can rebuke that spirit or those thoughts that come upon us, man, and stay in the fight. All right. But you have to examine yourself to make sure that everything that you're doing, you're making a cautious decision on everything you're doing. Elder Knox used to say this all the time. Every move is a calculated step. I think that was in the old Tupac song. But that's true though. Every move in this truth is a calculated step. You should be wanting to make the right move through the spirit every time you make a decision. And we know it's all Yahweh Shem Yahushua. I know we're gonna mess up for us to get better and to learn. We have to know both sides of the coin, the good and the bad. All right, that's how you become a great judge. All right, because you can't judge if everything is all good. You can't judge if everything is all bad. So you have to have that balance, right, to be a judge or a ruler. You got to know both sides of the coin. So we're being set up to be judges and rulers. So we have to know both sides of the coin. We got to suffer through the bad, all right, and be happy when the good come. But right now it's more bad than good because the only thing good we have is this truth. The rest of this shit, man, I'm tired of it, But being around the brothers, and teaching this word, when you get a lesson done, at least I can speak for myself. I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but I'll be happy, when I get a lesson done, because it's a fight and a struggle to do these things because you got work, children. All right, when the Lord finally lets you settle down to do a lesson, man, you be excited, about it. you know. And sometimes, you doing it because you got to do it. You got to keep pushing and fighting, and you feel like the spirit on you. But them the days when your lessons be fire. I'm gonna read this again. It says, examine yourselves whether this is 2 Corinthians 13:5. Examine yourselves whether you be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves how that Yahweh Shah HaMashiach is in you, except you be reprobates. All right, so we want to be in the spirit for the most part. We know you're not going to be in spirit 365, 24/7. All right, but you should be trying to be in the spirit a lot, the most you possibly can. I'll put it like that. All right, it said, but I trust that ye shall know that we are not reprobates. All right, so we're not going off against Yahweh Shema Shai, man. All right, because why we're like minded with him. Why? Because we're in the scriptures, man, and we're filtering our lifestyles through these scriptures, man. That's what's most important. You got to live and walk this walk that you're in, and sometimes it's a lot of things in the way. You can't just walk the way you want to walk all the time. It's a continual fight. Obstacles, everything is just coming at you at once sometimes, man, but you still got to keep on pushing and keep on fighting. All right, I'm gonna go to Sirach 37:12. These are things that you should apply in your daily walk. Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 37:12, it said, be continually with godly men, whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord, whose mind is according to thy mind, and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry. All right. So scripture say what? Two is better than one. If one fall, you have another person to help pick you up. All right. So continually to be around a godly man is an important part of this walk. It's something that you should be applying as much as you possibly can, is being around the brothers. All right. Because that what also helps keep you in the spirit. All right. What takes you out the spirit if you're out there on your own. All right. And you're doing this and busy and doing that. All right. And you're not around the brothers as much, because when we get around each other, all right, we get to talking about spiritual things at all times. And that's what it helps you, to stay in the spirit. All right, by continually being around the men of the Lord. All right, who keep the commandments of the Lord. All right, they're walking the same walk as you, and they have the same mind frame as you. All right, and they're gonna help you. All right, I tell the brothers here all the time, learn. All right, the brother that you stand with every day, every week. Learn each other, man. You learn their strong points, you know their weak points. That way you know exactly, all right, who that brother really is, and you can help him, all right, in the time that he's going through. Whose mind whose mind is according to thy mind. So like I said, I'm under the weather a little bit. All right, so lock you for that. It said, the mind is according to thy mind, and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry. All right, so he's right there to help you when you fall, when you come short, whether it be through a phone call, whether it be through rebuke, however it is. All right, he's helping you to get back on track and get focused. It said, and let the counsel of thine own heart stand, for there is no man more faithful unto thee than it. All right, so you got to really dig into your own self, man. All right, so you that's more going into you're examining, you're looking at yourselves. All right, like we just read, it says examine yourself whether you be in the faith. That means you know when you're going off. All right, you on some BS. All right, you know what type of person you are. You know what you're weak to. You know what you're strong at and good at. And especially when you get to come to the knowledge of this truth. So the things that you're not good at, you try to stay away from. That's rejecting his flesh. All right, let's go to Proverbs 27:17. Very familiar passage of scripture, man. It said, Proverbs 27:17, it said, iron sharpeneth iron, So a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. All right. So your brother is going to keep you sharp. He's going to, all right, be there in the time that you need him to be there. All right, with just a phone call or just a friendly conversation, or like I said, sometimes the brother might have to get on you. All right, but it's all out of love for Yahweh Shem Yahushai that we're like this with each other. All right, we want each other on the straight and narrow. We want each other to be as perfect as we possibly can be. No, we are not perfect. All right, we're striving for perfection. So we want to be as best as we can be when it comes to serving Yahweh Shem Yahushai, man. You know, we want to be as best as we possibly can be. So being around a godly man, all right, that iron sharpeneth iron, all right. So you guys, you brothers are going, all right, back and forth with each other in the spirit. And I ain't talking about beef, no arguing. I'm just saying y'all holding each other accountable. All right. So man, he's gonna help you out in those times of trouble. All right. He's gonna make you sharper than what you are. You're a weapon of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, man. And it's us against the world. And this word, all right, is tearing this place apart. All right, the truth of the scriptures, all right, is bringing forth a lot of these prophecies, man. You know, and we're a big part of that. You know, I'm gonna go to what is this? Revelations, chapter 1. This Revelation 1 and 3 said, "Blessed is he that readeth, and that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written written therein, for the time is at hand." Salakia, man, I'm under the weather, but you know, just gotta keep pushing. I'm gonna read that again. "Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of his prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand." What? The end. All right, the end is here. All right, we're in the end. All these plagues are happening. These different plagues. You've got this Hannah what virus now. You know, we had that C-19 a couple of years ago. Then we had the juicy juice. All right, and other things that are happening, man. All right, these plagues are here. You know, Salakia. So Salakia, I had a phone call from a brother. All right, I'm gonna read this again. It said, "Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand." Like I said, the time is what? We're in the end times now. All these prophecies are falling off the page. All right, but the point is, blessed is he that readeth. Reading helps you stay in the spirit. You know, and that's a big part, hard part for most Jake is to sit down and just actually read the scriptures. And I had a problem with that at first, but you know, it's getting better. Just sitting down and just reading the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right, opening the book. All right, that helps to keep you in the spirit. You know, so don't lose focus on actually reading the scriptures, man. You know, that actually helps to stay in the spirit. All right, and Satan wants to keep you away from reading. All right, because that's what's going to help you to grow spiritually. You know, so I want to go to Galatians. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go back to Sirach because I want to get that Sirach 39 and 1. This is Sirach chapter 39 and 1. It said, But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek the wisdom of all the ancient, and be occupied in prophecies." All right, and that's what we should be. We should be occupied in prophecy. And when you're reading, that's how you know what's going to happen in the end times, and that's what GMS, the brothers in GMS, are more focused on, is being occupied in prophecy. That's where we're entangled in a lot. You know, we go in on prophecy, man, and that because we're living in a time of prophecy being fulfilled. So the Lord has put the spirit on GMS Great Millstone to be occupied in prophecy, and this will help you, all right, to stay in the spirit, all right, because you're constantly being a watchman and watching what's going on. So you're occupying yourself, all right, in the prophecy, man. That's a big part of this thing that we're in right now, in the age that we're living in. It's prophesying the downfall of this place, man. All right, and we see it happening. All right. So I'm gonna go to my last scripture, man. I'm gonna go to Galatians chapter 5. Galatians 5 and 16. It says, "This I say then, walk in the spirit, and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh." All right, so our man should be in the spirit. We should be reading. We should be hanging around brothers. We should be examining ourselves. We should be fasting. We should be praying. These are things that you need, all right, to stay in the spirit. All right, so this I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. All right, denying this flesh is not an easy thing. All right, this flesh, when it rises up, all right, I know bros know what I'm talking about. When it rises up, and you got it's a big thing to fight it off. All right, it said, "For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do things you would." All right, so it's a constant battle every day to stay in the spirit. All right, your spirit is fighting, all right, to keep you in this thing. This flesh wants you to desire the things of this world. All right, so it'd be easier to go to the movies with your wife. It'd be easier to go chill with a chick. You know, it'll be easy to do all this carnal shit. All right, but it's not that easy to stay in the spirit. So it's a fight to stay in the spirit on this face of the on this time that we're living in. All right, so you really gotta discipline yourselves. You know, you really gotta fight hard. All right, to stay in the spirit. It said, "But if ye be led of the spirit, you're not under the law." I said, "Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanliness, lasciviousness, adultery, witchcraft, hatred, various emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies." If you don't know what these words mean, I suggest you look them up. "Envying, murder, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in times past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of Yahweh Shem Yahushai," man. All right? So you got to constantly try to stay in the spirit so you won't fall into none of these traps that I just read, the witchcraft, the adultery. All right? Staying in the spirit, knowing what's right and what's wrong. You know? I said, "But the fruits of the spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law." All right? It says, and they that are Hamashiachs have crucified the flesh with affections and lusts. All right, so we're putting aside these fleshly thoughts and staying in the spirit. Not saying this flesh won't arouse. Not saying that you're going to always be in the spirit. I'm not saying that. It's not wrong, all right, to chill with a chick. It's not wrong, all right, to go out with your wife. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying there got to be a cutoff point to where you get into the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. You know, verse 24. Verse 25. It says, "If we live in the spirit, and let us also walk in the spirit." All right, so that means you're in the word of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. The spirit is the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, as the scriptures have said, man. All right, all this is the spirit. Is walking in the spirit. Is following Yahweh Shem Yahushai's ways, man. It said, "Let us not be desirious of vainglory, provoking one another, envying one another." All right, so if you're walking in the spirit, you're not going to be doing none of these things that I just read. You're going to walk, you're going to put on the fruits of the spirit: the love and the affection, the long suffering, the gentleness, the goodness, the faith, the meekness, the temperance. All right, such there is no law. All right, so you're going to be walking like that. That's how men of the Lord are supposed to be. All right, and that comes with a little rebuking, a little chastisement. All right, you got to put all those things in there. But hey, it's all part of this walk that we're in. All right. So I'm just going to end it there. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise going on to Yahweh Shem, Shabbat Shem, Kakadash, Shalom. Throw some prayers up for me.